Hey guys, this is Abhishek and welcome to my channel or video tutorial. So today I'm going to talk about the radio buttons within the Shiny application. If you have seen my previous video where I have talked about how you can use the text input in the Shiny dashboard, so the code is written over here that I have used in my previous video where we had the requirement of giving some of the text inputs to our application, and then we wanted to just print the application and print the same stuff on the main screen. So if you have not seen, that's how the application is looking like. So if I asking what is your project, maybe P001, then it is written over here, and then the project name is Shiny Web App Development. It is coming over here, and the technology you are using is R programming. So that's very basic application just to show you how you can really use the text objects and get the output or handle the output. Alright, in this video we will going to talk about what you can do to get the radio buttons. So radio buttons is again a very similar to the text input. So that is radio buttons. It's the same name, which is very intuitive. And then you need to specify ID like you have done for other objects. So maybe here in this case, let's specify the location. And then let's specify the text for this, which is what is your location, and then let's write it within the choices. Now we want to give choices to the user based on which the user can select it. So maybe we can say off-site or on-site. So whether the location is off-site or on-site. Okay, I think we are pretty much good here while specifying the UI parameters. Let's save it. Now let's handle the input which is being given to the user and print it to the screen. So for that, let's handle it with the same output function, which is a reactive one, and we'll use the location and then specify the reactive function parameters and saying render text and input $location. You can save it and then go into the UI, and within the main panel just to print it, saying again text output and then the location. So this location is nothing but the one which we have specified over here, which is saying that it is part of the output. So let's save it over here, put a comma, so because we are specifying additional parameter to it. So let's save it and let's try to run the app. If we run the app, we get the two different options, either we are on-site or off-site. So that is getting selected or changed based on your selection. On-site is now, and if I enter project code, same stuff will work properly. Project name is Shiny Web App Dev and R programming. Alright, so everything is working fine and expected as it is. Couple of things you may want is maybe first thing is about a default selection. By default, if you have observed, it has come on the off-site as it was the first value, and we can change it. But if your requirement maybe for your business reasons that one particular value should be selected, maybe here in this case let's say on-site, then we can do that default selection. As well as many times we have the requirement that it should not come like a vertical fashion or a vertical layout, but it should be kind of a horizontal. So you have the parameters to do that. So if we go back and put a question mark, so let me first stop this and put a question mark and saying radio buttons, it will show you the different parameters. So input ID is what we have specified here, label we have specified this as a label, choices we have specified choices over here, and then the selected option. So selected basically says that which value you want to select first or second. Alright, so let's go ahead and specify the additional parameters, and we will first use the selected as it is mentioned over here. The initially selected value, if not specified, the default to the first value. So selected, and let's specify the value which we want it to be selected by default. So selected is on site is what we want. So we'll hit save, and then we'll click on the run app. Okay, let's see this. Alright, now you can see the on-site is by default selected because that is what we provided as part of the input, default input. Let's close this, and let's choose the next parameter, which is inline. So inline is saying if it is true, render the choices inline. That means horizontally. So let's try to make it inline is equals to true. Let's save this, stop the previous app and run the app again. So now you can see we are getting the horizontal layout, or values are listed horizontally. If we have like multiple values, that's a good use of the application layout. So that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss in this video about these different options that you have within the radio buttons and how you can use it efficiently with the help of both UI and server. And I'll meet you in the new video with a new topic. Hi there, this is Abhishek, and in this video I will talk about the slider input option of the Shiny dashboards. So slider input is basically helpful in selecting or in those scenarios where you need to select or increase the values one by one, kind of what if analysis. So maybe you have like sales data where you have sales values which you want to increase and wants to see how much expense is going to increase, or it's like, you know, adjusting budgeting and expense. So those kind of scenarios you basically handle with the slider. Apart from that, it has a couple of other uses also, I mean, in different applications. So let's see how we can create it. So if you have seen my previous videos where I have talked about text input and radio buttons, we will going to continue to make it on the same code, so that there are not many changes and you are able to build it one by one about different objects that are present within the Shiny. So let's go ahead and create the slider input. So slider input, again you need to specify very first parameter as the ID. So maybe what we want to create is, for our example, number of days spent on a project. So n days spent, and day spent, and that means number of days spent is what the ID, and let's write it the title as number of days spent. And then here is the important part, because you need to specify the minimum, maximum value, minimum, maximum, and the value. So for example, let's say we want to start with 1 as a minimum value, that you have spent 1 day, maximum let's say 200, and let's say value or the default value we want to give is 20. That means when you run the application, the slider pointer should indicate always to 20. Alright, let's save this first. So it is showing cross, that means error, which is because we need to give comma over here, and once we provide the comma it's fine, and save. And let's go into the server and handle this output dollar. And so maybe that's here we need to create a new object, because whatever is coming as an input like this is need to be handled within the reactive. So number of days spent. So this output will going to be again go here in the main panel. So render text, and you have input dollar and days spent. Alright, so that's pretty much it, and is showing error, and maybe it is because it is expecting a close bracket. We have provided it. should be okay. Let's hit the save and it is gone. And number of days is when I'll just copy that because I need to provide this into the output panel over here. So comma text output, and within that number of days spent should be the minimum required configuration that you need to do for the slider input. So once it is done, let's hit the run application, and once we hit it, that's where the slider is. So slider is starting from 1 going up till 100, as you can see, and since we have provided the value 20, that means whenever the application starts, slider should always be at 20. That's why it is here. I can move back, forth, wherever I want and adjust my application, and as you can see, similarly this number is getting printed. So if I'm changing now to something else, it is changed. So that's the minimum basic required configuration, and you can get the slider. And as well as now you know how you can handle the input and output of this slider. So that's the minimum thing. Another thing I want to discuss here is how you can create a range. So right now the range is basically starting from the minimum value, which is 1. But maybe your requirement is that you want to select a range of values. So for example, if you have seen the shopping sites, they always provide you the range. That means you can start your range from $1,000 or maybe 1,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees, or maybe $100 to $250, and then limit your criteria and limit your data so that you are seeing what needs to be seen by you. So how you can do that? Well, for that, let's close this and go back to our application. Stop this also. So this is the value, which is 20. That's where we need to make a small modification, and we need to say that value is equals to C10, 20. That means what we have done is that for value parameter, we have provided a range over here, which is saying that when application start, it should be between 10 and 20, and when application starts, it basically gives you 2 pointers or two widgets to basically move back and forth. So let's see it in action. Let's hit save and run the application, and now you can see that you have the option of defining the range. What should be your start or what should be your end range? So I can go back and forth, and you can see the 2 different values are coming, which is 23 and 67, whatever I'm changing. And accordingly, whatever data I will be having, or the dashboard or any configuration that I have done based on that, it will going to be changed accordingly. So that's the main thing about about the slider inputs. Apart from that, you have many other options. If I show you, I'll just stop this and say question mark slider input and put a show the help. You have minimum maximum value, step is also a very important parameter. So let's go ahead and see it in action, and I'll just add a parameter which is step is equals to 5. What it will going to do is, whenever I'm changing value from 10 to, let's say, next value, it will move either 5 step forward or 5 step backward. So let's save this and run the app. Alright, and let's move it one by one. So 26, 31, 36, 10 to 6, and wherever I want to move. So as you can see that values are moving 5 step up and down. So there was this one issue. I think you might have observed that it was starting at 5 and 10, and it was just moving 1 step when it was starting. Maybe it's like an internal thing or internal issue. So maybe if I change it, let's say back again to so maybe what we need to do is here, in this case, start with 5 and save it, try to run it again. Let's see whether it is an internal issue. It is more of a configuration issue. So 10, yeah, so it was because of the one that we have specified. So we need to start like, let's say 5, and then it should move in that direction properly. Alright, so that's not an issue. That's more of a configuration that we need to do based on how we want the step. We need to start the step start value also. So that's the thing I wanted to show you. There are a couple of other parameters which is again for your advanced requirements. So this is the basic thing with which you can start and make pretty awesome slider input. So that's pretty much all for this video, and I'll meet you in a new video with a new topic. Hi there, this is Abhishek, and in this video I will talk about the select input. So if you have seen my previous videos where I have talked about text input, I have talked about radio buttons, I have talked about slider input, and we'll take another step and see the select input. So select input is basically useful when you have the multiple values and you want the user to select one or multiple values from that drop down. You might have seen it at many places. That means websites and applications where you have the drop downs for products, for countries, where you can select and make a restrict your data. Alright, so let's see it how we can do it here in the Shiny. So it's very intuitive. The function is very intuitive to create the drop down, which is select input. Again, we need to provide the ID for this, and maybe we want is let's say give the department name, maybe department, and we'll say what is your department. All right, and let's provide the choices, which is a third parameter. That means what departments should be there. So within C, that means a multiple list of multiple values. So maybe marketing, finance, sales, IT. I think we should be good. These 4 options. And once we do that, let's hit save and go to the server and handle the input and translate it to the output by saying department and create the reactive function saying render text. Sorry about that. Input $department. That should be okay to handle the input and give the output back to the panel here, which is nothing but the text OU. Yeah. Alright, department. I hope I have written the same word. Should not be department. Yeah, that's okay. This is also okay. Let's run the app and see it in action. Alright, this is what we created so far. These ranges, radio, text and all. This is the market options. So finance, this is what it is changed. Sales, IT, whatever you want, we can do it. So that's how very easily you can create the drop down box. And many times you have the requirement that you just don't want one department as a selection or maybe any other value as one selection, but you want to select multiple values. So what to do in that case? Well, in that case you need to give an additional parameter, which is multiple. Multiple is equals to true. So as you can see, it's very intuitive and very easy about how you can manage things over here within Shiny. So let's stop the previous app and run the app again. And now I have the marketing. And as you can see, the drop down has not closed as it was closed in the previous case, and I can select sales, I can select IT, and I should be good. These are the 3 values which are coming. I can handle it and make my dashboard or data, whatever is there, changed according to the multiple selections that I'm doing. So that's how very easily you can create the select input. You can manage it with the multiple input, and as well as you can handle the data which is getting selected by the end user and print it or make it necessary configuration within your report or dashboard. So that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss in this video, and I'll meet you in the new video with a new topic. Hi there, this is Abhishek, and in this video I will going to talk about how we can use the tab sets within the Shiny dashboard or the Shiny web application. So as you might have seen in many web applications or many websites that you have different types of tabs like presented over here. We have the data tab where we have just shown the data. Next you have the summary tab where we have shown the summary information, and then you have the plot to show the plot. That means the basic idea is that you just have one central location to display all of your metrics and charts, and how you can best utilize your centralized space with this multiple information. Or if you have like 5 or 6 different tabs for showing different types of charts and metrics, then how you can utilize this just single space for this much of information. So we will see first of all how we have created by looking at the basic code which is required to produce these types of tabs and this information in each of the tab, like how they are connected and how we have just segregated entire information. And currently if you will see this drop down which is not impacting any of the tabs over here, we will see how we can connect it so that our application is dynamic and responding to the user input. So let's go ahead and first of all review the code. So what I'll do, I will just open up this my Shiny application code, and Shiny application code is very simple. If you look at this, is the select input, which is nothing but it is taking CYL cylinder, AM automatic or manual transmission, and gears. So if you don't know about this data, let me tell you a little bit about data about how it is coming up. So what I'll do is I will just stop the application, and what I'll do is put str, which is structure of empty cars dataset. So that is a dataset, inbuilt dataset I'm using. So as you can see, CYL is basically part of this empty cars dataset here. And what I'm basically saying over here, that use the CYL which is there in the empty cars dataset, but when it is in front end, basically mask it with the text cylinders, which is more user friendly. Similarly, in case of AM, which is automatic or manual transmission, over here I'm saying that put in the front end as a text transmission, however use AM, which is a dataset variable or a dataset column. Similarly for gears, we have this gear column over here, but in the front end we are saying gears. So if I go back to my application, since it is disconnected, I just stopped it. You can see cylinders and the entire cylinders or transmission or gears are coming in the front end. However, in the back end, they are just using the dataset variables, which is AM, gear, and CYL cylinders. So that's a select input. And if I drag it a little bit down, and within the main panel, we need to define the tab set panel. So tab set panel is basically an overall structure within which you are saying that you want n number of tabs. That means so far I have just shown you 3 tabs: data, summary, and plot, like this: data, summary, and plot. So these are the 3 different tabs that I have created, and first parameter within the tab panel is the text, which we want to give it to tab. So in case data, summary, and plot, that is what you have got: data, summary, and plot. And then the output, which is coming from the server. So first one is the table output, this table output. The second one is basically the summary. So we are using as verbatim text output, which is useful in displaying the or printing the text, which is part of your normal printing, like structure of a dataset, summary of a dataset, things like that. And finally you have plot output to display any plot information, like if you remember I was showing you the plot over here, the box plot. So let's go ahead and see it in server. Within server also it is very similar code. If you have seen my previous video, it's very similar. We are just saying that output $empty cars and creating a reactive function, which is, or a predefined function, which is render table, and just passing the dataset name, which is empty cars. Fine. Then we are creating the summary by creating another output $sum, and this sum, as you can see, is used over here. Empty cars of output, this one is used as the output here in the UI.org. Similarly, this plot, as you can see, is used over here, with the output. So these are the three different parameters are going back to the UI, and we are using it as part of plot output, verbatim text output, or table output. Alright, so here, as I was mentioning, that we are just displaying the entire data set by passing the data set name. In the second function, we are passing just the summary, very simple one command. And finally, within the plot, we are passing with the help of with empty cars, show me the box plot. So why I have used with, so that I don't have to specify empty cars again and again here in this case. If I would have not used that, I would have to say box this empty cars $mpg, empty cars $sign, and gear, which is useful to indicate how these variables are associated to a particular data set, or these variables are coming from which data set. Because I don't want to specify again and again, I just specified it once, and I can use any variable which is present within this empty cars. So this is producing the box plot chart, and finally getting displayed over here within the dataset panel. So that's how they are connected with each of the tab panel by passing these parameters: table output, verbatim text output, plot output, and these parameters are present over here in the server. So that's the basic idea about it, how we can really produce a very simple application within different tabs. Now the next part is about how we can add the interactivity. That means whenever user is giving any input to your application, it should be present, or it should reflect that input as a part of your operation. So first of all, in the empty cars data set, let's say what we want is, for our example, mpg is one of the variable which is present over here, or one of the column which is present over here, and our requirement is that we just want to show the mpg column, and then any of the column which is present here, which is cylinders, transmission, or gear. So if that is our requirement, that we don't want to show the entire piece, but along with mpg column, any other column as mentioned over here as an input, then I can go ahead and go into the server, and I will just simply write within empty cars. I will open up the brackets and put a comma. Anything before the comma is row, anything after the comma is column. So in columns we want multiple columns like mpg, and along with that we want the input which is coming from the user, which is here, select input and gear. So I will just say input $and gear. Once I hit save, and just one more thing before I go ahead and run the application is surrounding it by mpg. So let's stop what came previously and run this application, which is here. Run it, save, select it, and now we have the mpg cyl value, the cylinder value. If I want transmission, it is changing to transmission. If I want gear column, it is changing to the gear column. So that's how I can very easily add the flexibility to it and make this more user-friendly application which is responding to the user's responses. So summary is pretty much you generally want for all the data sets, but again, in a similar way, if you want to have the summary just for few columns, then also you just need to go back, and here in the summary empty cars you may need to specify that you want summary for specific column. Let's say along with mpg, here again you want input $and gear, and save it, stop and rerun the application, and within summary you have mpg and cylinders and transmission or gears. So that basically helps you consume the information in much better way, so that you are not getting all these 15, 50 or 100 different columns, but only those columns which you really want. Similarly for plot, you have the plot for 3 different gears, and here is basically information is represented for gear column, which is static in nature. But if you want the plot by transmission or cylinder, again you need to go back and change it in a similar fashion. So I'm leaving that up to you for doing it into a last example, which is plot, so that you can go ahead and do some exercise. So that's mainly about, different tabs that you can create within the main panel and make it connected to the server for user response and interactivity into your application. So that's pretty much all I have for this video, and I will meet you in the new video with a new topic. Hi there, this is Abhishek, and in this video I will talk about the reactive functions. So you might have seen in my previous videos that I have been using, so let me go back to R, and I've been using the functions like render table, render print, render plot. These are all reactive functions which changes based on the user input and gives the output which goes back to UI within the main panel and get displayed with the help of the table output, verbatim text output, or plot output functions. So different output functions that are present. And if you've seen my previous video, this is what we have created, the different tab sets, where we were using the MPG along with the different field values that are present here, which is changing based on the user selection. Similarly, in case of summary, it was changing based on whatever we are changing. Similarly, here in case of cylinders, I have given you the example. Hope you have done that, but if you have not, then I'm showing you here in this video that how you can do that. Alright, so let's see the requirement of the reactive function. So let me close this. So the requirement of reactive function is in the server script, and if you are seeing that we are using this empty cars statement here, again here, and down there again here within the for displaying different types of summaries, plots, or charts. Now the idea is that instead of doing the calculations again and again, why can't we just do the calculation within one function, which is a very old concept of programming about if anything is iterative or happening again and again, just create a generic function and use it instead of multiple times using it at a different location within the program. So let's go ahead and create the reactive function with this idea, and we will going to create, let's say, empty react, and within that we will use the reactive function or the reactive keyword to create a function, and within that we will specify this particular statement, to be honest. So I'll just copy this and put it over here. So that is basically saying that whenever I want to use reactive functions in any of the functions, it will going to be based on this data set, which is having MPG, part of the empty cars data set, as well as input from the user. So once I have done that, what I can do is in these functions I can remove this, and I just need to specify empty react. That's it. So one other differentiation is that it does not start with the output or prefix with the output. It starts with the name of the function, as you can see. But other functions, since they are connected to the UI, they are starting with the output. So always there is a differentiation when you are doing that, and easily identify, okay, this is the reactive one, this is again a reactive one but associated to the output. So empty react I have specified, I am done. Similarly in summary, I just, sorry about that, where is my cursor? Alright, here it is. I'll just remove and say empty react parenthesis. I just noticed I need to specify parenthesis over here. I'll save it, save this, and finally here with empty cars, what I need to do now is with empty react, because that is what the function is, and within the box plot the first value is fine because that is what we have specified here, which is part of MPG, but second is dynamic. So let's change this and use empty react again, and like any other operation that you do with a data frame, where you have comma and before comma you have rows, after comma you have column, is specified too, because we want to take the second column from the dataset. I think that should be okay to complete this all user-friendly application which is accepting input. And let's run the app and see if there are any issues. Alright, so first one is data, which is mpgcyl, and I can change. Alright, it is working fine. Let's go to summary. Yeah, it should be working fine, and it is. And finally, let's go to the plot. We are in cylinders, so 4, 6 and 8 cylinder. Let's change it to transmission. It is changed to automatic or manual transmission, and finally to gears. So that's how you have created your entire application dynamic, as well as reduce the server processing by just specifying the calculation once and using it again and again in your different reactive functions, which is producing the output. And the special part is this, which is empty react function, and then fetching the different columns from the reactive function itself. So that's the key part, I would say, for this video, because apart from that, everything is very straightforward. So if you have a requirement about manipulating even the reactive functions columns, that's how you can do it. There is another way by directly specifying the name of the object also, and that's also is perfectly fine. Alright, so that's pretty much all for this video, and I will meet you in a new video with a new topic. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, our video tutorial. I'm Abhishek, and in this video I will going to talk about how you can insert the images or some help video in your Shiny application. So many times when you are creating a Shiny application like this, where it has multiple tabs, you generally want at least one tab dedicated to what the Shiny application is all about, and how then end user will going to access it about its different kind of functionalities that you have provided. That probably you may want to give it with the help of a video, with the help of a text, with the help of some combination of text, images and video. So in this video we will see how we will going to add the existing images that are in your hard drive or videos that is in your hard drive, as well as any other instructional videos which are on the web platform like YouTube or something. So let's go ahead and see it in action. So that's the application we have where we had created our applications, the web application so far until my last video, and we are going to now add one more tab here, which will going to say the help text or the help tab. And now we will going to specify what we want to give it. That means an image or video or any external video. So before I go ahead and tell you how you can add the tags related to, or how to add the images or video, we need to do one small setting within our folder. So let me open the location where these informations are. So as my main folder is text input, where I have the UI and server.r, and within that I have created a www or World Wide Web folder, which is a requirement to store any media files like MP4 or any images that I want to show it into the front end. So that's the thing, that's the folder you need to create to really access it. So let's close it. And now we will first of all going to access the image. So we will use the HTML tags, which is starting from tags $img, and we will going to specify src is equals to and name of the file rstudio studio.png. So I remember that's a file name present in the in that www folder. So I'll stop the previous application and run the app again. It is saying that it is having some file sourcing it, so let me see it in the backend. Let me check whether the name. Alright, so I need to specify the comma over here. I think that's the issue. Save, stop, and run the application again. Yeah, now it's working fine, and as you can see I have the image over here along with my other tabs. Alright, so it can be a company logo or any other thing or any other standard image that you want to put. Now let's go ahead and see. Let's stop the previous application and let's add the video. So if I show you, I have this dashboard as an MP4 file as one of the videos I have uploaded previously on the YouTube. So I will just going to add that by using the command text $video, and again I will just specify src is equals to dashboard.png. So I'm not specifying its additional parameter, which I will going to explain you in a minute, but let's see how we can get it. So if I run the application again, there is nothing coming up. So I think that's the problem we had. Dashboard.mp4, I need to specify. That's a mistake I did, because that's an mp4 file. Save. And now what it has just given us the image, because we have not specified its related controls, its type, what kind of file it is. But within tags you need to specify the additional parameters. So if you're finding a problem like this, then what you need to do is stop whatever it was, stop the application, and then go into this, specify width and height. First of all, so width, let's say maybe 500 within quotation 500 px, and height is equals to maybe 350 px, and then we need to specify the type is equals to video/mp4, and then some controls which is straightforward controls is equals to whatever controls which are present into it, and save it, and let's run it again and see the change. So now you can see I now have the proper video file, which I can even download. I can change the screen size. So if I run the application, you can see it is running. I'll just stop and make it a full size screen. I can download it, all of the options which you generally want. So that's, you can see how easy it is to add any text or video file which is present in your location, folder location. Now we will going to see how you can add any YouTube video. So I have this, as you know, I have this YouTube channel, our video tutorials, and let me try to add this previously uploaded video which is creating reactive functions in Shiny. So if I open this, and I will just pause the video, and I will going to look at this share, and within share I have the embed as one of the tab, and I'll copy this, the code which is present for embedding. So I have copied this one, and now I will going to go back to my application, which is here, and let me try to add it afterwards. So to do that, we will going to use a different tag, which is HTML tag, as all the information related to this. So I'll put a double quotation. All this particular HTML tag that is coming from the front end needs to be put it over here. So let me remove this. I think it needs to go without it. And what it is giving me some sort of error. Let me first hit save, and then let me put it not in double quotation but in single quotation, but because it is having double quotation inside, it's as part of the parameters it should have. So single quotation and another single quotation at the end, and I think we already have the comma in the end. So I'll stop this, I will save the file, and I'll run the app. So once I run the app, now I have one image file over here, the video file which is directly from the folder, and then down here I have the YouTube video which is added to my application. So I can run this. Hi there, this is Abhishek. As you can see, in this video I will talk about, as you can see, the video is added to my Shiny application, and very easily I can create my own repository where I can collate all my videos which I want to see, I want to share with others, or want to keep track of it. So I don't want YouTube to do it. If I want just myself, I can keep on adding the HTML tags, and within that just that frame information, and easily I will get all of that YouTube video details, or from any other site. I mean, you have Vimeo or any other site which is providing you this code, this iframe. Or maybe what you can do is you can have a standard code like this, just keep on changing the source. Let me go there. We're just changing this particular source information. Just keep on changing the source, and you will have the videos directly from your web, from any site on the web. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in this video about how you can add the images, how you can add video file from your folder and directly from a web into your Shiny application to make your Shiny application much more interactive and much more useful for your end user. So that's all for this video, and I will meet you in the new video with a new topic. Hi there, this is Abhishek. And in this video, I will talk about how you can download the data file or the plots which were plotting in the Shiny application. So as you are aware that many times we have to distribute the data which we are seeing in the Shiny application with our counterparts, or maybe we need to download the Shiny application plots and use it as part of reporting within the presentation or somewhere. So we will see how we can do that within Shiny, where we can place a download button for either downloading the file or downloading the plot, and then get the information downloaded for further distribution. Alright, so if you have seen my previous application or the previous video where we have talked about videos and all, I have just commented it out for now because that is not the interest. So for this video, so I have just commented it, but what we are showing is just the data, the summary of empty cars, the plot, and we will going to do the download option within the data tab and the plot tab just to show, or just to see how we can download data that we are filtering and how we can download the plot. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to do this. So we need two things here. First thing is we need a download button. So that is a more of a front end thing. And then we need its handler who can download, or basically tell the download button that, hey, this is the thing I want you to download, and here is the information. You just go ahead and download it. Alright. So first of all, let's add a button over here. So maybe what we can do is put a comma and say download button. As you can see, first of all, we need to give ID like any other standard down function. So maybe we can see download data, comma, and then the label. So we say download data. I mean, that is what we want. And we need a similar function for the plot also. So here we are going and adding it over here. But we are going to change some parameters, like we are going to change download plot so that there is a differentiation between the data and the plot, and very simple. So let's first save and see it in action, and we'll get to know that there is nothing happening as of now. It's just that we have given the option of download data, and as you can see, there is nothing coming. It's just the blank or empty file. Similarly, if I go up and go into the plot, I have the option over here which is saying download plot. It's just that saying Chrome document. That means there is nothing which is really coming up as a part of downloading the plot. So generally the information should come like plot.png or data.csv, I mean the format that we need to download with. So how we can do that? Then let's close this and stop the application and go to the server where main handling needs to be done. So let's put after this plot, and what we want is, I'll just minimize this, and what we want here is the output parameter with the download data, because this is what the parameter or the ID we have given in the front end. So this, and we will say download handler, and within the download handler we need to first write its standard code, and the standard code is defining the two different functions, which is first of all the file name is equals to, and then the function within the function. So that's first thing. Second thing is specifying the content. So that means the file name and then the content within the file. So for another function, and we will specify file as a parameter, and that's pretty much it, and put a comma afterwards to specify. So that's basically the syntax for the download handler, and within file name you will going to specify the name of the file along with the format, whether it is CSV or what it is. Similarly, here in the content you will going to specify what content should go along with this file. Alright, so let's first specify the option for downloading the data, because this is a download data function. So for that we will just going to specify the function paste and specify the name of the file, empty cars, comma, we want in CSV, and we want separator is equals to dot. That's all. That's what we need to specify. That means whenever it will going to download, it will going to download the empty cars.csv file. Let's specify the content over here, which is again very simple, which is nothing but write.csv function. And within write.csv, we will going to specify this function empty react, which is getting the filter data. So empty react, and then we're going to specify the file which is part of this parameter. So that's pretty much it, and let's see it in action by running the app. Alright, so we have this cylinders, or we have this transmission data. Let's go ahead and see what file format which is coming when we are saying download data. So as you can see, empty cars, we are getting the now the comma separated files. So if I hit enter, I am getting the information for MPG and AM. AM is nothing but the transmission of the data, like this. So similarly, you can filter anything which is now gears. You can go ahead and download the gears data. So that's the first part. As you can see, very straightforward. Within just few minutes we are able to automate the entire functionality. Now let's go ahead and automate the plot functionality by enabling the handler for download plot button. Alright, for that let's go back and go into the server, and let's go down, and we will just copy this entire piece and modify it so that I don't have to write it again. And I'm saying here download plot and download handler function, and we want empty cars plot, and we want let's say PNG. Alright, separator is dot, and then within the content we need to remove this, and we need to say PNG function. Within PNG function we will need to specify the file. Well, that's pretty, sorry about that, file, and after this you will make device off. So what it happens is PNG is opening first of all a device, and then it will convert the file into the PNG, and then it will going to download. So what we are doing is we are just changing, we are just removing the entire piece. So first of all, yeah, there is one other thing I forgot, is plotting the box plot. Yeah, otherwise it will not know what you are going to download. So here we have the previously written command for defining the box plot, and here you go. Well, that's pretty much it that you need to do. Alright, so let's stop the previous application and let's run the code. Alright, and now we have download plot, and the plot is for cylinders, and the 4, 5 and 8 is basically coming as a cylinders, and if you want to change it we can change it, but let's go ahead and do it for cylinders first. So download the plot, it is coming as a PNG file, you just save it, and open the file. And as you can see, I have the plot in a file with PNG file. If I want to change it, I will change it to transmission. We'll download the plot again. Let's see, 0 and 1 is coming as a transmission. So as you can see, 0 and 1 is coming as part of the transmission. So as you can see how easy it is to download the data, download the plot, and automate this entire functionality for a very smooth and very good user experience. And that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss in this video, and I'll meet you in the new video with a new topic.